Okay, so now that you guys have had a chance to try the balance scales, I'm going to have you switch over to your Safari and try the algebra balance scales using negatives. That's the second one on the list here under algebra. And again, when it asks for a Java update, you say later, let it load. Could take a little while. And hit the run button, and again, if it asks again, hit run. So using negatives, we now have new things to add to our scales. The balloons are, think of them as filled with helium. So if you have an X variable that is filled with helium, it's going to lighten the load on a scale. So if these are weights, then the balloon would bring it back up to level, right? So negative X plus X, they balance out to 0. That is why the scale is now back to normal. So basically what we'll do is we'll set up for this particular equation, which says 2x minus 4 equals minus 2. So I have to use 2 of the X tiles on this side and 4 of the negative 1 balloons. Then on the other side, I have to have 2 negative 1 balloons, and these two are equal to one another. I click continue to make sure that my equation is correct. I can now proceed to balancing my equation so that x is on its own. The x variable here, I have 2x minus 4, so I'm going to take that minus and I'm going to add 4 to make it opposite. So if I have minus 4 and I add 4, it will be the opposite. I hit go. As you can see, the balloons disappeared because I was adding 4 to each side. The balloons disappeared on the right-hand side, and I was left with 2 unit blocks instead of balloons. So I'm left with 2x equals 2, and once again, I need to get that x on its own. I have to divide by 2. So I'm going to type in 2 there and press go. That leaves me with x equals 1. Let's try a new problem. This one is a little bit tough. I'm just going to stick with the ones that have a variable on one side of the equation. So this is 2x minus 1. I have to add my x tiles and my minus 1 balloon. It's equal to 7 unit tiles, so I just put those over on the other side. Now I have to balance it, so I click continue, and I'm going to add to this side. I'm just going to add 1 because that's opposite to the minus 1. So my balloon disappears. I end up with 1 more unit tile on the right hand side, so I have 2x equals 8. I have to divide by 2, division, divide by 2 in order to get my x variable on its own. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. I'm left with x equals 4. If I'm going to record this on a piece of paper, I have to have written 2x minus 1 equals 7. I have to record what it is that I did in this process in order to come up with 2x equals 8. I actually added 1 unit tile, so I have to either write on the side of my paper that I have added 1 to both sides, or I need to type it in and show what that looks like. The next step was to divide by 2, so I could write that on the side and say divide both sides by 2, and then x equals 4, or I could have written 2x divide by 2 equals 8 divide by 2, and then written x equals 4 on the next line. I'd like you to go through, practice with this particular set of balance scales that does negatives, and again, record 3 of your problems. If you want to challenge yourself, go to a new problem that has the x variable on both sides. For instance, there's one. So where you would have, where you would have 3x plus 4 equals minus x plus 8. If you'd like to try these, you can continue watching this video and I'll show how to solve this particular problem. If you'd like to just try the other ones and get your 3 questions completed, you can press stop now. So those of you still with me, we have 3 X blocks and 4 unit tiles. So there's 4 blocks there. We now have a negative balloon on this side, and we have 8 positive unit blocks on this side. So once this balances out, there's my 8. I'm going to click continue and make sure that I did it correctly, which I have. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the X on the left hand side. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and that will leave me with 3X plus 4. Or sorry, 3X equals negative X plus 4. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my negative X to the other side. So instead of having a negative X here, I'm going to add an X tile to both sides. And in doing that, so I press plus and then X in my box here, and I say go, which will eliminate the balloon from the right-hand side. I now have 4 X blocks on the other side. And if I divide by 4, I can have just a single X block on the one side and a 1 block on the other. So X equals 1. Good luck. Have fun practicing with that tool.